Welcome back, guys, to another Zero DTE video, and today Coach Ernie's going to be talking about the power of repetition, so make sure you stay tuned. If you're interested in becoming a pro trader, check out the link in the description where you can find Coach's education platform. Enjoy, guys.
Hey, Coach, one more thing I just want to add in. I'm learning a lot by, and again, just reaching out to the crowd, is that going back and looking at prior videos or just going on the site and looking at past sessions. I learn a lot by doing that. So, like, for example, if people were confused about time frame and looking back to the left, go back and in 2-3 days and look at this video. And again, a lot of times it sinks in. Something that was really unclear becomes clear.
Yeah. If you reflect on, how other professionals treat this sport, people that are at the very top of their game, and how they actually learn these nuances and very intricate details and understanding, it's through repetition and through practicing those fundamentals. The fundamentals, you might think, well, then that's all there is. I'm just keep on going over the same old thing. What the hell am I going to learn from that? Well, then you're an idiot if that's the way you think, because there's an infinite amount that you can learn even from the fundamentals, things that seem so basic. And I mean infinite, right? Because the top pros, the elite of the elite of the elite, that's what they do. They practice the fundamentals. And the more they practice, the more they learn. And in fact, there's a sort of a parable of a master that says, in the beginning, I learned those fundamentals and I thought I knew it all. I could kick everyone's ass, right? And then as I started getting into more of the nuance and the strategy, I realized that, there's a lot more to learn in this, and I need to keep on going. And then they achieve some high level of mastery, and they think, wow, I'm just now starting to develop my own kind of nuanced view of how this all works, my own strategy, implementing my own take on it. And then as they go beyond that, they start realizing that they know nothing in true mastery. So you go from the very beginning thinking you know everything to true mastery, where you understand that you really know nothing, that it's just the beginning. Every day is like the beginning of your learning. And that's why, like, pro athletes are the easiest to look at this. You have all these pro athletes. Some have unbelievable athletic prowess and others don't have as much, but that's not what determines their ability to shine above one or the other. It has to do more with how well that they've inculcated or ingrained their understanding of what they're doing. And they only get there by practicing those fundamentals over and over and over. And they're not just getting, a sharper view on those fundamentals. They're gaining this deeper understanding of what those fundamentals mean and their ability to react to them. That's why, you have someone like a Larry Bird or a Tom Brady or, someone of that ilk that don't necessarily have the same physical attributes of the other people, but they excel beyond those others by orders of magnitude because of their ability to practice those fundamentals over and over and get more in depth and nuanced on their understanding of it. That's what separates the great player from the average player. It's not their physical prowess, because that's a very limited range of things that they can do. It's how they use their brain in order to take advantage of the situations. And that just comes from, again, fundamental practice. Larry Bird shooting 1,000 free throws every week. And even the mental advantage that he showed, I don't know if you know much about him, but he would, at a home game or any game, even away games, both teams usually would split up the court and they would practice on either end of the court, or they'd have their own specific playing time where they could practice pre-game before that game would start, maybe hours before the game. But Larry Bird was always up in the rafters of those stadiums doing laps, particularly when the other team was practicing, and they'd be looking up at him and seeing, what the hell is he doing? He's doing laps. He's doing that for a mental advantage because he knows that he can get in their head. The guy who can't jump or run, but outplaying every top defender in the league. I don't know if that resonates with any of you, but it all comes down to just repetition over what you're doing, and then finding ways to find greater value and worth and understanding of what you're doing, even though it may seem simple. There is infinite possibility in those things that seem basic. And a lot of times the reason why you cannot see those things is because you haven't yet trained your brain to see those things. Your brain is clouded by too many other thoughts, and that ability to focus in on those most basic concepts, to be able to go deeper in and see the flowering of those possibilities that appear in your new sense that before only looked like a hard edge. That's kind of the basis of fractals and fractal geometry that Mandelbrot brought to that sort of understanding, that even beyond those things that seem at our particular focus level hard lines, when you focus in on them enough, there's an infinite variation on that hard line. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the Mandelbrot set. as an example of that. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Not a clue.
You have mentioned
right.
it several times, and I've looked at a website about him, but I haven't gone very deep.
Let's take a look at the Mandelbrot set, and I'll do that by bringing up a video showing a visual representation of what the Mandelbrot set looks like.
So if you thought about going into the ministry?
Well, you know,
Just kidding.
I have thought about expanding my viewpoint on things and what level of practice do I need to be in. And so I've examined a lot of different philosophies and sects and things that I've gravitated towards that I've taken to the next level. So for that reason, that's why I am a Taoist priest, in fact, an ordained Taoist priest, that I've taken it to that level of ministry that I wanted to get so deep into it to gain that understanding.
Wow.
So I'm assuming everybody can see this graphic.
Yes.
All right. So this graphic is made from a very simple mathematical equation, and this is one of many variations of it. That simple equation, when you plot it, creates this sort of spectacular image, plotting out when you plug in the numbers, what it looks like. But you'll see that as you change one of the variables on this simple equation, you'll find infinite variability in this graphic. And in fact, you'll see that there, at its most basic, there's this sort of obloid object, and then it has a couple of other objects off of it. Right. But you'll also notice that there are these little tentacles that are there that you may not see right away. And to you may, depending on your viewpoint or resolution, may look like nothing but noise or just hard lines. But watch what happens as you change the scope of looking at this image as you traverse down that one change in that variable. Notice how the pattern tends to repeat, and what it's really doing is just taking some arbitrary point and then just keeps on zooming in on it, and you'll see that this pattern goes on forever. This is the nature of fractals.
What is this called?
Mandelbrot set, named after Benoit Mandelbrot. He found these patterns, and from that, he developed his theory on fractal and spatial relationships and fractal geometry, which are used in all types of math and physical properties as well as finance, and largely what our theories on market memory are based on, and also how we view patterns in financial markets too. How you can look at some patterns that exist in small time frames, like 1 second to 1 minute to 2 minute to 10 minute to an hour to daily. You tend to see the same kind of patterns no matter what time frame that you go on. This is sort of illustrative of that point, that those fractals exist in every aspect of our existence, whether they're in markets or physical entities. I mean, you can almost look at that from the point of view of at the very smallest level that at least that we're aware of, we see what an atom looks like with its swirling electrons around that atom. But if you were to look at that from the biggest point of view, a galaxy is in many ways a larger fractal of what an atom looks like, or a solar system. I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but
Interesting.
it's not just interesting. It's a foundational characteristic of everything that exists. And the point that I was trying to make before is that we have a certain scope and resolution onto the things that we're looking at. But until we start really examining it, we never see beyond that. What you perceive as sort of a hard line may in fact be there may be infinite depth and resolution to that if you just were to look at it closely enough. And that's what, like I said, that's how I'm trying to translate that to what is the difference between average athletes and superior athletes. They have that ability to see those edge cases and that infinite depth, or at least see deeper into it, where other people can't. And it's not that they can't, it's just that they're not as well practiced, or maybe they don't have the innate ability. I don't know. But markets are much the same way, that if you focus on those fundamentals long enough, you start seeing more depth in that, and you start gaining a greater appreciation for it. It's a skill that you have to acquire, and the only way to acquire it is through practice. And the easiest way to do that is through asking questions, getting answers. That's it.
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the like button below. If there's any questions that you might have for Coach Ernie, make sure you leave them in the comment section. Thanks, guys.